Okay, so we will start our discussion. Yes. So you are able to see the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so last week, we have started our plate girder. So as already we told you, right, plate girder, the design is easy, but there will be, so many things you have to design. Okay, the flange, web, the stiffeners, the buckling, bearing, intermediate stiffener, load bearing stiffener. So the design steps are many. Okay, so this also we discussed, like you say, how to find out the weight of the girders, a self weight. That itself we don't know, before, because plate girder is something like a built up thing. So the weight itself, you followed it, it's a problematic. So there are some guidelines given from practice, like you say WL by 300, like that, thickness, depth, and then you see, so you can find out the flange area. So assumption is only the flanges will carry the bending moment, web doesn't come into picture. Okay, then classification, then you see the shear forces. So we have two methods, one is simple post critical, then the tension field method. So you can use both the ways, and the easiest is the simple post critical only, because the tension field means you have to do the additional, the calculations. They are all straightforward only, but still more the design becomes more lengthy. Okay, then the end panel also we have said. So if there is no tension field, say, then no need to do any design for the end panel. Okay, but if you are having the stiffeners, and let us say all the things you are designing with respect to tension fields, then you have to design this end panel, that is the last, this end, that end, say, because that is the most critical near the supports. So this, so here also you can design using tension field and simple post critical method. Okay, so each method, say, we have different the formulas. Okay, you have to design as a beam, and then you have to check the other things also, then the anchorage forces, other things also comes into picture. Then intermediate transfer stiffness, say, so we have aspect ratio, moment of inertia, how much it should be. So the code gives a lot of guidelines, and outstanding also will come, maximum is 20 times a TQ, and it should not be more than for the effective things, so we use this 14 times. Then buckling check, you have to do all the things you have to do. Then effective area of the stiffener, then you have to check this bearing also. So this also is a formula given in the code. So then the end bearings, this is more important. Okay, which will the supports. Okay, so here the guidelines are there. Then suppose if there is a tension field, say, then this also you have to take care into account. If there is no tension field, then this goes away. Okay, then bearing stiffener you have to do, then connections, web slices, and all other things have to be designed. Okay, so then bearing also, this is a formula, you see, which we have to use for checking the bearing stiffener, that is a design force. So this was the problem, you see, which we were solving in the last class. I think we have already started. So we had a 24-meter span, and UDL was there. So then we found out the self weight of the plate girder by some approximate, some WL by 400, where W is imposed load, say. So then our load was 159, the kilonewton per meter. Okay. So then finally, you see, the design of the web has been designed. Then you see the thickness of the web has been designed. So generally in plate girder, whatever number you come to say, so you always take the more values actually, so that your design will be perfectly fine. Okay, so we took 16 is the thickness of the web, so this also we took. Then the flanges we have derived, and we have said it is a plastic and they satisfy all the things. Shear capacity also we found out. So I think our shear capacity also of the web, say, it is perfectly fine. If we see Duggal's book, no, initially he took this as a 12 actually, but then it doesn't satisfy. So once again you have to increase the thickness, and you have to redo the design. Now for this problem, say, the lateral torsional buckling is not required, because the beam, the plate girder is restrained. Okay, if it is not, then you have to design a longitudinal stiffener also. Okay, so now let us look at the flange to web connections. Okay, so let us show this connection. So I will just rotate my thing. So now you see we have to design, you see, the flange to web connection. Okay, so this welding has to be designed. Suppose if it is bolting, say, then you have to do much more work, because welding is very easy. Only thing is shear. Okay, so you have to find out, you see, the shear, this one. So shear force in the web you have to find out. This formula, V the area of this one multiplied by, you say, I times, sorry, this 2 times, Iz. Okay, so this, for I section, from your mechanics of materials. So this formula, for calculating the shear stress, all of, okay. Now here the only problem in plate girder is this moment of inertia, right? So this calculation becomes, very, problem, okay, because, for beams we had already we used to get from the steel tables, but for plate girders these are all what you can say is built up kind of thing. So every time you have to find out the moment of inertia and other things also. Okay, so now the moment of inertia, say for a plate girder, so Iz, so like you see for I section how to find out the moment of inertia. Okay, so now you have to find out the flanges and other things also you can do, or you can take it as a complete rectangle and then subtract this portion also, one can try. So this he has done by this approach, so by 12. So this for the entire thing. So then you subtract this portion, say, into, so dq, okay, by 12. So total d is this one. Okay, so whereas this small d is this portion actually. Okay, so this is just a straightforward moment of inertia, the calculations. So this turns out to be 64293.6 into 10 to the power of 6 mm, to the power of 4 actually. Okay, so this is a moment of inertia. So now you calculate qw. Okay, so this becomes is a 1908. This is a shear force. Okay, the maximum shear force, already we have set in the beam, say at the support, so we have the maximum shear force was 1908 actually, and the bending moment was 11448 itself. So the shear force is 1908. So multiplied by, that area of the flange. Okay, so that is a 580 into 50. Multiplied by, so you have to find out the distance actually. So where you are providing the welding, so this welding is done this place actually. Okay, so that is near the flange and web connection. So there, you have to find out the shear force. So here, so 900, so plus is 50 by 2. So 50 is your the width of the flange or whatever the thickness of the flange. 900 is this distance because the total depth was 1900. So flange was 50. Okay, the 50 this one. So this becomes the web becomes 1800. So we are trying to calculate at this junction actual. Okay, the centroid or whatever. So now this is a shear force. So multiplied by 2 into 64293.6 into 10 to the power of 6. So this turns out to be some 0.42 kilonewton per mm actual. So this is your shear, okay, per unit length or whatever is we have. So now you know how to design the weld already we have said. Suppose if you take size of the weld as 10 mm, say, okay. So the throat whatever ks becomes is 0.7 into 10. So this is 7 mm. So you can find out the strength of the weld, and if it is a shop welding, all of all those things. So the strength of the weld, say, okay, of shop weld, assuming it to be a shop weld per unit length. So all the formulas everybody knows. Okay, so FWD. So this turns out to be 4.2 into 410 into 10 to the power of minus 3, say, by root 3 into 1.25. So these formulas all of you already know this one. Okay, so this turns out to be 0.795 kilonewton per mm actual. Okay, and the shear force which is coming on our things, it is a 0.42. So this means your weld of this size actually is it is basically safe or unsafe. What is your comment? Now, what is the comment? So this is a shear force, okay, which is coming on your junction. Now, if I take weld of size 10 mm, say, and then use your welding formula, so the weld has a strength is 0.795. So whereas the which is a shear is 0.42. Now what is the comment? So the welding is fine, or we have to revise it?
It is safe.
It is safe only. Okay. So 10 mm is fine. That is what you see it says. So now the connection is done. Now in this problem, say already there are no stiffeners actually. Okay, but the problem what they say is so you have to design the end load bearing stiffener also. So he has done under connections also. Connection we have designed. Now he says there are no stiffeners in this the plate girder, but in the end, say there are end bearings, load bearing stiffeners are there, because near the support, we will have that support reaction, So there they are having a load bearing stiffener. So this has to be designed actually. Okay. So now the design is very simple. So end bearing stiffener. Okay, so it is very straightforward. But to design the end bearing stiffener, say first of all you should know whether end bearing stiffener is required or not. If the web is able to carry that 1908 the maximum shear force, then there is no need to design a stiffener. So first of all you have to find out the capacity of the web itself, whether it will carry, how much the stiffener has to be should carry, that has to be found out. So first thing what to do is the local, the bearing capacity, say, or bearing capacity of the web has to be found out. Okay, so capacity of the web. So all of this formula in the beams, we have done this one. So B1 plus N2 into thickness of the web, say F yielding this one divided by say gamma times M naught. So if you substitute, say, because near at the support, we are finding, so you have only N2, otherwise you will have both the, near the concentrated load. So now in this problem, if you assume the bearing length as, that B1 as 125 mm, say, so N2 becomes, you see, and now for bearing, where you have to find out the bearing? See this N2, how to find out? Bearing and buckling, you remember, we have discussed in the beams. Buckling means what will be the, how do you find out where are you finding the buckling thing? In the web. Where it is?
Center of web.
Center means 45 degrees. Now bearing means
at the junction between flange and web.
So that is a 2.5 times, so right, this is 2.5 times depth of the flange you have to use. So this becomes, you see, 125 mm. Okay, and now you substitute all those things, say 125 plus 125, you see, into 16 multiplied by, say, 250 by 1.1 into 10 to the power of minus 3. So this turns out to be 909.09 kilonewton. So this is the bearing, that is what, bearing capacity of the web. Now what is the shear force which is coming on our near the support? The maximum shear force is, you can see here the maximum shear force we have got as 1908. So now what does it tells you? 1908. What does it tells? Whether the web can carry?
Not safe.
Not safe. Of course, here you can find out the buckling capacity of the web also, but generally, the crippling will give the, the lowest thing compared to buckling. Both of the thing, if you want, you can find out buckling also. Okay, we are not doing that one. So we are going to this web crippling only. Okay, so now it says that web cannot carry the load. So that says that you have to have a stiffener. You followed. So this is, the required actual. So now the maximum reaction, say. Okay, so our maximum shear force or whatever we got was 1908, the kilonewton. So now near the web, so suppose if you are looking from the top view, so this is my web, say. So I have to put a stiffener actually. So we will design 2 stiffeners. So this side, that side. So this also you can decide, you can start with one, you can decide, you see how much we want and other things also. Okay, so now let us, you followed, right, 2 flats. So we will take 2 flat sections, okay, on both the sides. So then what is the maximum width of the flat? How much it can go? What is the maximum width? What does our code says? How much is the maximum width of these stiffeners? See, this is a panel here. Then the stiffeners is being done. What is the maximum thing? The outstand of the stiffener. What does it say? See how much maximum, your stiffener can go, the length or whatever you say, the width of the stiffener. See that outstand, how much is how much it can go? What is the guideline?
20 times thickness.
It is a 20 times, that is an outstanding thing, okay? But the maximum, if you want to calculate, say, the maximum how much it can go. See, suppose if this is my plate girder, okay, this is a section, okay, so this is my plate girder. So now I am putting a stiffener actual, okay, so now this is my stiffener. I am providing, you followed, so this is a welding, so I am providing a stiffener like this. What should be the maximum outstand? How much distance it can go? So stiffener, the maximum, the stiffener, whatever I am putting, say, include this one, how much it can go, the maximum outstand, this portion, how much it can go, the maximum, 20 times a TQ is, that is fine. But the maximum it can go, can the stiffener width will be more than the flange?
No, sir.
Yeah, see what happens if it is more than, suppose the stiffener becomes like this much, suppose that 20 times TQ, whatever say, suppose if I have like this, so can a stiffener become like this? So here also you have put up a stiffener, something like this, say, so this is, you followed, right? So whether this is allowed, stiffener itself width is more than the flange itself, is it possible?
No, sir.
So that becomes uneconomical and useless, because your things are going down. So the maximum thing which is allowed is the width of the flange actual. Okay, so that is the limit we have. Of course, 20 times, that is a different issue. But so this is a guideline, is it should not be more than you followed, right? The flange thing itself. So the maximum width. See what happens if you have a stiffener like this. If it is width going more than this one, say, this portion, can you connect to the flange? See this portion, when it is, you can do the welding actual. So here in this portion, the stiffener is nicely connected to the flange. But if the width of the stiffener is more than the flange, say, so this portion, how do we connect it to the, you followed, right? The other, that's a headache actual. So the maximum width, 20 times a TQ is fine, but that can be accommodated actual. So the maximum width of the flat, you see, that can be accommodated. Okay, so which can be accommodated, cannot be more than the this for like now in our case 580 is the breadth of the flange actual. Okay, so the maximum stiffener will be, say, 580 minus 16, say. Okay, so 16 is the I think the web thickness actual. TW is 16, this one. So if you subtract, so 580 minus 16 by 2, so this turns out to be 282 mm. You followed. So this is the maximum thing you can go. More than this means useless actual, because you cannot connect it to the flange, and it's an economical kind of thing. So now this is a guideline. Of course, so 20 times a TQ, that is another guideline we have. So this you have to understand. So now let us say in this problem we provide a 16 mm thick flat, like same as web thickness, say, something you followed, right? We have tried. This may be later revised also. Okay, so now the maximum permissible outstand. So thickness has been decided. So once the thickness is done, then you can decide how much should be the maximum outstand. So that is the 20 times TQ times epsilon. So this is related to thickness of your stiffener only into 1 set. So this turns out to be 320 mm, and effective outstand. So what does the code says? If it is a 20 times also, you have to take effective thing will be in your design calculation, say 14 only you have to use it. So 14 into 16 into 1. So this turns out to be 224 mm actually. Okay. So now in this problem, say, let us you followed, right? So you can try, let us take, if it doesn't work, you can redesign also. 224 by 16 mm. So this is how you see we are taking our, the outstand or whatever of the stiffener. So this is an assumption. So 224 this side, 224 this side, and 16 is the whatever the width of the flanges, or this width of the stiffener. Now web width thickness is also 16 actual. Okay, so these are the numbers. So we have tried this one. If it doesn't work, you can increase also. So how much maximum you can go? See, now suppose if it doesn't satisfy, say, you can go up to, what is the maximum limit? Now, what is the maximum limit you can go up to outstand for this flange? So if you take 20 times TQ, this formula, say, so what is the maximum you can go?
320.
But 320, is it possible?
No, sir, only question.
Because your flange thing is
282.
282. So it means, you are going outside, then useless, right? You cannot connect, and then, we have other type of problems actual. Okay, so this is the maximum thing. Minimum is 224. So anything you can play between these two. Okay, so don't go by 20 times TQ. So you have to check this important step also. Now we will do the buckling. So now we will check the buckling, all kinds of things. You see, we can check the end bearings, and then bearing also we will do web crippling, web buckling also. So buckling we will check for this end. So now with the effective area you have to find out. What is the effective area of the stiffener? So what does the code says? So the area of stiffener means, you see, only I will take 224 into 16 this side, 224 into 16. What does our code says? When the load is acting on a stiffener, and if you want to try to find out its buckling capacity, so what does the code says? What is that the code says? Here I think maybe not here, but there you followed, right? So we took this one. So what does the code says? You remember the slide where we discussed, right? So what is that we said here? So you remember? Yes. Here what does the code says? So if you want to find out the effective area of a stiffener, so if you want to find out buckling strength of a stiffener, so what does it say? A portion of the web plates on either side of the stiffener acts with the stiffener, forming a, if it is single stiffener, it is a T section, otherwise it is a crucified form actual. So what does it says finally? How much width you have to consider? Web also? Now, can you see here? Now, what is the effective area of a stiffener? So this is my stiffener, say, but area means not just the area of the stiffeners. You have to include now how much portion this web also, how much portion you have to include?
40 times the
40, 20 this side, 20 that side. So total it will be 40. Okay, so that is how, that is also very important step. Okay. So that much area. So not only just the stiffener area, but your web also will have a contribution here. That is a cruciform kind of thing also. So this much area you have to consider actually. Okay. So 20 times TW. So that also comes into picture. So that becomes, so 2 into 224 into 16. So this is a stiffener plus 2 into 20 times into TQ, that is 16 mm is the thickness or whatever, multiplied by 16 actually. So 20 times TW multiplied by this one. So the effective area, this turns out to be 17408, some mm square actual. Okay. Then moment of inertia you have to find out, that is Ix of the stiffness. So this also is a very straightforward. So now this becomes as a BH cube by 12. So 16 into 224 cube by 12. So this is for a rectangle. But this moment of inertia BH cube by 12 will be around its centroid actual. But you have to find out stiffener here. You followed, right? So this portion you have to do. So that AR square you remember. So 16 into 224 into 224 by 2 plus 16 by 2. Okay. So AR square, this expression. So you are finding the, about this area actually. Okay. So this portion. So that is what you have to do, the moment of inertia. So this turns out to be 1319.1 into 10 to the power of 4 mm to the power of 4. Now you find out the radius of gyration, say Ix by, you see the A. So this turns out to be, you substitute Ix and A, this turns out to be 87.47 mm. And now the slenderness ratio has to be find out. So the slenderness ratio, you have to do the effective length. What is the effective length of a stiffener? How much we take effectiveness, the that slenderness, that how much that KL, say how much value K should be taken. So generally what is that our code says? So somewhere I think some we have seen, right, the radius of gyration, the effective length of a stiffener, how much we have to take? You remember somewhere I think we said, right? See the buckling resistance of the web here. Then buckling resistance of the stiffener we have said. This is a torsional thing. This one. Somewhere I think it was there, right? Effective length of the, what is the, now tell me, what is effective length? Can you see here for buckling?
0.7 times L.
For intermediate stiffener, 0.7 L. Suppose now it is not intermediate stiffener. We are doing load carrying, or the near the thing itself. So then 0.7 times L can be taken. If the flange is not restrained, say, then you take 1 L. Now we are saying, right, in the case flange is restrained, right, because lateral torsional buckling is not there. So 0.7 times L. So this also is a very important thing. Okay. So 0.7 times L. So this you have to take. So this becomes, you see, 0.7 into 1900 is the, you know, that is the total, that stiffener thing, 87.47. So this turns out to be 15.20. And now for the to find out the design compressive stresses, which column curve we have to use? A, B, C, D among the four. Which one you have to use?
C.
C, buckling curve. C you have to find out. So buckling curve, you know, the C. So C you take, and then, you know, you dump this number. So from the table, you know, you can get this as a 225.44 Newton per mm square. So F, you know, the buckling resistance, say, so of the stiffener is, you know, area of the stiffener is 17408 multiplied by 225.44, and you check the units also. So 10 to the power of -3. So this turns out to be 3924.46 kilonewton. So this is the buckling strength of the stiffener actual. And now how much is the maximum shear force? Maximum shear force was 1908. So what is your comment?
Safe, sir.
It is safe. Of course, it is you know, more over safe also, you can say. If you want, you can decide also. Okay, if you want to be more economical, say, so you do, you know, you can decrease its outstand or thickness or something, and then you can do the calculation. Okay. Now we have checked the buckling of the stiffener. Now we have to do the bearing also. Okay, that is a web crippling, you see, the bearing capacity also we have to verify. Now for the bearing capacity, say, so we use in the design steps, if you see here, so it is clearly mentioned here. See, now the stiffener is checked for bearing if required actual. Okay, so this is valid for intermediate as well as you know, anything you can see. So the bearing strength of where do we do this bearing thing? See, bearing is nothing but crippling. Okay, so whether it is intermediate stiffener or in intermediate stiffener also, if the load, if it is directly under the concentrated load, say, then you have to do this one. Now near the support also we have a concentrated load, that's a support reaction 1908. So that also, you know, you have to check from this expression. So this is the bearing thing, you know, which we have to verify actual. Okay, so this formula we will use it in our calculations. Or I think here also we have, I think, one more formula. Design compressive force, this is what it says. Okay, so this also you can find out. See, like this is also the same formula only. So this is for the web actual. Okay, now for the stiffener alone, say, so this is a formula, so this has to be used actual. Okay, so this same thing we will try here also. So for the bearing capacity, so now for the bearing capacity, say, for the stiffener alone, so for the stiffener alone, if you take, say, so AQ Fyq by, you see, this gamma m naught. So this should be more than Fc, that is a total force. This is the web portion actual. So how much web has taken and what is the total loads that you know, that whatever is the difference that should be carried by the stiffener. So the area of the stiffener, say, and now here also we have a problem actual. Okay, for the bearing, the problem what we have is you know, now how the flanges are connected to the web. So we have done the welding actually, 10 mm or whatever you followed, right? We have done the connecting. So now when if we want to connect the stiffener, say, what is that you have to do? Last class I already told you. Now the stiffener is here. Okay, so this is much is my stiffener. Okay, now what is that we have to do? So this is my stiffener, say. Here in this region, what you have to do? You have to give a small gap. What do you call that one? Now what is that we call? Because already flange welding is there, so we have to give a gap actually in this small region. What do we call this small region? You remember last time we discussed what is that region where you have a gap actual. So full stiffener cannot be connected because flange and web will be already be there is welding, right? So you cannot do this stiffener, you know. So the stiffener, say, you have to cut it actually, you know, like this to announce, you know, to connect it to the flange. So this is a stiffener, say. Okay, so because already flange web has been this one, so you can't connect directly. So you have to do something like this to the stiffener. What do we call this? Now, we discussed, right, previous class. What do we call this? We call this as coping. You followed. So coping or so this is what they say as a coping kind of thing. Okay. So now here, what is our weld size? See, weld size. How much was our weld size?
10 mm.
10 mm. So because you can't connect, you follow, right, the stiffener directly to the flange because already there is a weld here. So you have to cut your stiffener actually. Some small region has to be, and there should be some little bit gap also. So now, so we give a coping length. So let us say, we assume that coping is a 15 mm say, okay. So this coping is, you see, 15 mm. So that means weld size was a 10 mm actually. So we have given additional, how much? We have given a small gap, additional 5 mm gap we have given. Okay, so this is a coping length. So now the bearing, so the area becomes 224 is my width actually, minus the 15 has to be subtracted actually. Okay, so this turns out to be 209. Okay, so now the area becomes a 209 into 16. So this is 6688 mm square actually. Because this is very, very important. Why coping has to be taken care for bearing? In buckling we didn't do. You remember, in buckling we simply took 224 and then we did all these things. But when bearing comes, we are taking this coping. Why we have to worry about coping now? Buckling we didn't worry, right? In buckling we simply took the area as 224 itself. But here, we are taking coping, we have to subtract. Why?
Sir, because crippling occurs at junction of flange and
excellent, fantastic. Okay, buckling means it occurs at middle, but coping means it occurs at junction. So this becomes a very, very important actual. Okay, so this you have to please keep it in mind. Okay, and now the bearing capacity, sir. Now you substitute. So FC minus FW. What the total load was 1908. How much? What is the bearing thing of the web? So we already calculated, right, for the web when we did the stiffener calculation. So for the web was 909.09. So that much extra. So this is a difference actually. Okay. So this turns out to be 998.91. So this extra thing should be carried by your stiffener. So now the bearing, that is the stiffener say. So you substitute in that formula into 250 into 10 to the power of minus 3 by, you see, 1.1. that same formula, A into F by Q, and of course a 0.8 was also there, I think. Okay, so if you see the expression, there is a 0.8 also is there. 0.8, where is that? Yes, here also. Yes, 0.8 times gamma, the M naught. Okay, so you dump all those numbers, say 0.8 also. So finally, so you substitute all those things. So this turns out to be, some 1520 comes, divided by 0.8 will be there. Finally 1900 it comes. Now how much is the load it has to carry? What is the difference? 998.91. So now what is the comment here?
safe, sir.
So your stiffener is fine in buckling, bearing as well as in buckling also. But please understand, when you are calculating the bearing strength, coping is a very, very important. So if you don't, for buckling, no need to worry. But coping, because the crippling also occurs at the junction. So this is the most important thing. If you forget, then your design will be the problematic. Okay, so please take in consideration this also. And now finally, we have to check for the torsional resistance also. This is also very important. Because here the plate girder, so when you mount the plate girder, 24 meter span, there are no intermediate stiffeners also. So then what happens during the erection? See, right now our plate girder is a 24 meter span, huge plate girder, depth is 1900, this one. And then there are no intermediate stiffeners also. So when you try to erect it on the the supports or whatever, you can have this torsional thing also. So this also becomes very important thing. So torsional resistance by this end bearing stiffener. So everything comes only from the stiffeners actually. Okay. So this also already that formula you followed it for the torsional resistance. Say, so we have that formula. Where is here? I think we have already said. So torsional resistance, you see, this is the formula given in the code actually. So these are all empirical things, alpha, ds and TCF, and I think alpha depends on your LLT by RY. Okay, so this is the one which you have to compute. LLT is your that length, and RY is your radius of gyration about the minor axis. Okay, this you have to be careful, not about the major axis. So this is the issue. Okay, so now this also let us calculate. So now the moment of inertia, anyway, you see, we can find out Iy has to be done. Okay, so 2 TF, you see, breadth of the flange cubed by 12 plus D into TW cubed by 12. So this turns out to be, substitute all those things. So I will get a moment of inertia, 1626.58 into 10 to the power of 6 mm square. Now the area, okay, so the area becomes 2 into 580 is the breadth of the flange, 50 is the width of the flange, plus 1900 into 16 actually. So this is for the web. So 88 400 is mm square or whatever we get, and we find out the radius of gyration, that is Ry. So this turns out to be 135.64 mm. So the lambda, that is a slenderness ratio or whatever. So LLT by, you see, Ry. So what is the length of your plate girder is 24 meter span divided by 135.64. This turns out to be 176.94. This is greater than 100. So the table has three things was there. So alpha S say. So this becomes a 30 by lambda square. So from the table, you pick up this value. So this turns out to be 9.58 into 10 to the power of minus 4. So now we can calculate the IS. So this should be more than 0.34 times 9.58. This is alpha. Multiplied by that area or something was there, 1900 plus 2 into 50, cube multiplied by 50. So this turns out to be 130.28 into 10 to the power of 6 mm to the power of 4 actually. So this is the torsional resistance of the stiffener. It should be more than 130. So now if I calculate the IS provided for the stiffener, so this is 16 into 2 into 224 by 12 actually. So this is a moment of inertia for the stiffener. So this turns out to 119.89 into 10 to the power of 6 mm to the power of 4 actual. Now what is your comment? So the code says your stiffener moment of inertia should be more than 130.28 actual, but provided thing is 119.89. So what is your comment now? Now what is the comment?
Safe, sir.
Safe or unsafe?
Unsafe.
Unsafe, because you have to provide 130.28, but we have got only 119 points, so it is unsafe. So what does it tell you? If the torsional resistance is not satisfied, say your plate girder may be fine, but when torsion comes during the erection actual. Okay, 24 meter. No, so if there is some things accidental, something happens, then that's it actual. Okay, so your plate girder will collapse. So you have to revise its stiffener. So now what is that you have to, now we have provided 224 by 16 actually. This was our stiffener. So now we have to increase your stiffener's moment of inertia. So two things, you can increase the 16 or you can increase the 224. What is that you will try to do now? Now already how much maximum width you can go for the stiffener? Outstanding. We have taken 224. The maximum you can go is
282.
282. Of course you can, instead of 16 you can, that also is another option. So now we can increase actual. Okay, so let us say we increase to 240 by 16 actual. Okay, so this if you do and you recalculate, say the once again, so obviously your thing will be safe actually. So this you have to do, but no need to worry about these calculations. Okay, whatever you have done previously, the bearing gearing, you have taken 224, it was safe. So if it is a 240, say obviously it will be safe or unsafe. Now you are increasing the length. Okay, no need to, if you want you can recalculate also, but anyway the 224 240 say, so it will be safe. So if you want you can this also you can try to get those things also. Okay, so this is how you can design your stiffeners actually. Okay, that way then the stiffener, then the torsional resistance, all other things can be done using this the expression itself. Okay. So fine. So this is how you see you have to do all the calculations and everything you can do, and of course you have to design the welding also, that you can how to connect the stiffener, what should be the the width actually basically, okay, of the weld, where the stiffener versus this one. So this connection say, so this also will provide the welding here, or this welding also, so here also, okay. So this also you have to design, but I leave it to you, okay. So it is anyway straightforward, you have to find out the shear and then you have to do the design only, okay. So we have the standard formulas. So this way you can design unstiffened the plate girder. Now the same problem, say if it is stiffeners are there, if stiffeners are there, now how to do the design, the same problem. Now so this is little now when if the stiffeners are there, okay. Now if you want to design, there are two things are there. Now the stiffeners may be there, but if the stiffeners are there, say what happens if the stiffeners, if you provide all intermediate stiffeners, what advantage you have? See, now our plate girder is like this. Now the same problem, say if we say that I will provide stiffeners actually in between everywhere, and now what happens? See, what is the role of a stiffener? No. See, if you provide stiffeners, okay, not at the end, intermediate stiffeners also. So now what happens? So the plate girders, what capacity will increase?
Shear buckling.
Now shear buckling capacity will increase obviously, okay. Now when you want the shear buckling, say, so when you are having intermediate stiffness, as already we said, you can design two ways actually. One is you can post critical, that is the simplest thing we have. Other one is the tension field method actually, okay. So both the ways you can do the design. So the same problem, let us see from the post critical. That means you see all the stiffeners are there. We are not going into tension field method at all. Simply the each portion, that a failure will be using only the post critical only. So no tension field forms in all this, that intermediate panels or whatever we have. Okay. Now since the stiffeners are there, say obviously our shear thing will get this one. So the depth of the web, thickness of the web, you can decrease actually. Previously we have taken some 1900 and then the web was 16 mm, something like that we have taken. So stiffeners are there, so we can reduce the web dimensions. Okay, so this freedom we have. So now let us say we take the depth of the web, say okay, 2000 mm, and then the thickness of the web actually. Flanges are going to remain same. So let us say 10 mm only. Previously we have taken 16 mm. Now we have taken like this. Flanges are same. 580 by 50. So we are not changing this one. So web is this is a we have tried. Okay. So 2000 by 10 is now the intermediate stiffeners have to be decided. Now when you provide the stiffeners, say the spacing becomes very important actually. So let us say in this problem we take C by D as 1.4. That means the spacing of the stiffeners. This turns out to be 1.4 into 2000. That is the depth of this one. So this turns out to be 2800 mm. So this is the spacing basically for the stiffness itself. So we have so now you have to find out to see how many the first of all you have to check. So when the C by D is 1.4, say what is the criteria you have to check now? So you remember. So the criteria is you have to check the D by TW now. So this condition has to be verified. Okay. So if you see that slide, where is that slide? So if you go to that D by TW, now when you are providing the stiffeners. So you can see here. Now what is the criteria when we are when only transverse stiffeners are provided? Okay. Now when 3D C less than D by T. Now in our case C by D is how much is C? C is 1.4 times D. Now what is the criteria? So your D by TW should be. So it falls in 1, 2 or 3. Your C is 1.4 times D. Okay. So now in this 7.3 point, this B, we are having 3D C less than D, then 0.74 C less than D, and when C is less than 0.74 D, we have. Now our criteria falls in which one? 1, 2 or 3?
1, sir.
So the limit is 200 actually. Okay. So this is how the limit has to be found out. So this you have to verify. Now. So this d by tw say, okay. So this becomes 200 times epsilon w. So now our thing is 2000 by 10. So which is exactly, you see, 200. So that is perfectly fine. And now apart from this, you have to check what is other criteria. Your d by tw should be less than. Now one more important step was, what is that one? This comes from the serviceability other criteria. So okay, the flange, web or something. Other criteria, another most important thing we said. What is that? Any of you remember?
345 this one.
Now what is that 345?
Flange buckling into web.
Flange buckling into the web. So anyway, here also it is satisfied actually. Okay. So this is also done. This is also done. So now that is done. Okay. So everything is fine. And now you have to design the panels actually. These intermediate panels also are intermediate you followed, right? Things. So now you have to find out the web capacity. Okay. Now how many panels are there? So this also you have to find out. Number of panels. So total 2000, I think 24, and this is the length of your plate girder. Spacing is 2800. So approximately 8.57. So approximately 9 panels actual. So if it is 9 panels, say, so actual spacing will be so actual spacing will be 24 into 10 cube by 9. So this turns out to be 2666.6 mm. So which is 1.33 times D actual. Okay, not 1.4, but anyway, all the criteria are perfectly fine actual. Okay, so now there are 9 panels are there. So now you have to find out the buckling capacity or the shear buckling say for each the panels, because now we have done. Now where is the maximum shear in our plate girder? So this is my plate girder now. Okay. Where is the maximum shear? Which panel will have maximum? Like 1, 2, you followed, right? So we are having a panels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then 7, 8, 9, like that. You see, we have the panels. So where is the maximum shear, or where is the maximum shear of this one? Which panel the maximum shear is? So we have a UDL which is acting on the plate girder. Okay. So now in the beams, where is the maximum shear force?
First and the last panel.
And the first panel and the last panel, that is near the support itself. Okay. So the maximum shear was some 1908 or something. So now we have to check this the shear capacity of this itself. So now for C by D, if it is 1, so then we have that formula, you remember, 5.35 plus 4 by C by D. I showed you last class also. So this formula you use to find out, you see, 2666.66 by depth is 2000 square. So this coefficient, say, you can find out from the 7.6, the critical stress. So this is kV pi square E, you remember that analytical formula. So 12 into 1 minus mu square d by tw whole square. So you substitute all those things, you will get 34.34 Newton per the mm square. So this is the elastic critical stress of the web. Now we find out the slenderness ratio. Now, so Fyw by √3 times tau cr comma E. So this was non-dimensional slenderness ratio. This turns out to be 2.05. So which means 1.2. So now you can find out the shear stress. Okay. That 3 formulas are there, post critical method. So we are designing all the panels with post critical also, no tension fit. So that becomes tau B. So this is Fyw. This formula is in the code actually. So lambda W square. So this turns out to be 34.345 Newton per mm square. So the shear capacity of my web say. So d tw into tau B. So multiply all those things. 686.9 kilonewton, which is less than 1908 kilonewton. Now what is that it tells you? So the shear capacity of the web is what is the shear capacity of the web? Now, what is the comment actually? Shear capacity of the web is 686.9. The shear force is the maximum thing is in the end panels. That is 1908. So what is that you have to do now?
Not safe, sir. So we have to provide stiffeners.
So the remaining things 1908 minus 687. So that you have to, that has to be carried by your stiffeners. So how to do that one already we have explained, right, in the previous the thing. Like you see, if the stiffeners is not, then the web is not good, say. So now what did we do in the here also? So you remember here also what did we do? What we did was, so first of all we did this the strength of the web we found out. Okay. Oh, sorry. Shear capacity of the web we did. Finally you see tau b whatever. Of course here the thing was perfectly fine actual, but now so the things they are different. So now you have to design your all the stiffeners. The remaining thing has to be carried by the stiffeners. So here you have to do all the things like that is you have to design the end bearing also, the stiffeners, the end bearing stiffener. So this you have to design also. Then you also have to design the intermediate stiffeners also. So the design, so the end one say, so you have to design for that 1908, but the intermediate stiffeners, what is that you have to do for the intermediate stiffeners? Design of this will be how to design this one. You will use 1908 or what is that you will use here? For the intermediate stiffeners. So the maximum shear force is near the supports, that is here and here, that is a end bearing stiffener. But for the intermediate stiffeners, how much shear you have to take? See, for the intermediate stiffeners, whether you will take 1908 or what is that, how to do that one? See, 1908 is a shear force at which place?
At the supports.
So now intermediate stiffener, what is the value you have to take here? How we should proceed? You have to draw the, what is that you have to draw?
Shear force diagram.
So shear force diagram you have to draw. So you have to find out shear force at this stiffener, shear force at this stiffener, shear force at this stiffener, and then you have to find out the, once you know the stiffeners say, then anyway buckling capacity, bearing capacity, all of them are all same actual. So the intermediate stiffeners requires more calculations actual. Okay, but the end bearing will be the, of course they will be the huge, because 1908 is the maximum value there. So you have to get that, once know that value say, then other things are all straightforward actual. Buckling, bearing, the same formulas can be used for this also, and you have to do this also. Now whether you have to do the end panel design, see the end panel has to be designed. In this case we have intermediate stiffeners, so whether end panel design is required or not?
Yes, sir.
Why? See, we have provided stiffeners, but each stiffener, how we are designing the stiffeners are these things, whether you are designing by tension field or you are designing by the post critical.
Post critical.
So now whether tension field will form in these regions. In these stiffeners, whether tension field will form in these panels. One stiffener here, one stiffener here, say. Now all the panels we are designing by post critical only. You followed. So which means tension field will form or it will not form. See, now this is my end panel, say. Okay. And now in this region tension field will form, this type of thing. So in this problem, we are not allowing a tension field at all. So all the panels we are designing by post critical only. So if there is no tension field is forming, say, then what will happen here? So if the tension field was forming, then you will get this extra forces, which comes from this anchorage and other things. So that is not happening now. Okay. So the end panel design also is not required in this problem, because you are not doing. But the same problem, if you say that tension field, if you are designing, then say, then the end panel design also has to be done in this problem. Okay. So now anyway, I will stop here. We will continue in our next class. Okay. So this is a very important thing. So here end panel design is not required. Only bearing, intermediate stiffener designs only are required. and they will be same as how we did in the previous problem, but the only problem is intermediate stiffeners. You have to draw the shear force diagram actually. Then only you can proceed for the you do the design, the buckling bearing actually. So that is the one which you have to do. Okay. So fine. So I will stop here. We will continue in our next class. And before I close, so all of right, when is our end